Hey everyone, welcome to the shop here at NTD Racing. Today I'm doing a little bit of work on Honcho, getting it ready for the California 300. The last time we raced this truck was at the Mint 400 and we basically damaged one of our King shocks. We got it repaired, but today I'm going to replace it with a slightly better coilover shock with a reservoir on it. So that's what I'm gonna show you today. We'll get to it. We gotta do a couple things to make that happen. We're gonna have to pull the drive shaft off, get the limit straps off, and then raise the truck up and try and get these shocks out, put the new ones in, and then charge them up with nitrogen. I'm also going to show you how I'm going to make some of the mounts with my 3D printer, so that will be a pretty cool way to save yourself some bucks, and you can see how we mount these reservoirs on the truck. Let's go ahead and get to it.
So for those of you watching, we still use a slip yoke on our drive shaft, and just because, you know, with the 6L90 transmission, I don't think anybody really makes a fixed yoke, but this is our 5th race on it, and we still haven't blown up a single drive shaft yet. So far so good. I call it a win, and I think we're gonna put the same thing on Lefty.
All right, here's a quick look at what we got going on and kind of the plan of what we're gonna do. So these are the shocks that we're gonna put into the truck. These are actually ordered for Lefty. But I got a little bit of time, so I'm gonna either swap these out and get new shocks for Lefty, or I will pull these out later. But right now, I'm gonna put these in because these are shorter. These are 16-inch shocks, and the ones that I have in here right now are 18. So I got an 18 bypass, and the coil over here is an 18. The problem with that is that with the orientation of the shocks that we have in there now, I think that shock will bottom out before the bump stop bottoms out. And the reason it's different is we used to have the bypass in the back and the coilover, the bypass in the front and the coilover in the back, basically reversed from the way we have it now. And after talking to Sonny at Down South Motorsports, who was just one of the super knowledgeable, really nice guy, he said the way that most people run them and the way you should run them is reverse though. So that's what we did, but now we're gonna run into some dimension issues. Not a big deal because we're getting a higher performance shock in there with the reservoir than this one, and we'll use these as backups just in case we blow one again or something like that. They'll be in our spare parts. But with that, what I'm gonna do is I think I have to disconnect these, the bypasses. Now realize with pressure in there, they're always pushing down, so it's gonna be a little tricky getting that bolt out, and then I will have to lift the truck up a little higher, get that bolt out, try to fish that coil over out of there and fish the new ones in, and then do the reverse and put everything back together. But let's go ahead and see if we can't fit these things up and get this thing back under its own springs, so we can see how it all looks.
So I'm not sure how you do this without having a lift, just to get the vehicle high enough to get the shocks out, and then also just the safety factor when you're getting underneath a truck like this, just to be able to lock that thing safely in place with a really solid lift. You know, maybe some kind of chain hoist over a tree or something like that would work also, but be careful when you do this stuff.
Thank you.
It sure did feel weird not having the plasma table in the garage, but it gave me a chance to kind of go back and use some of my older tools, like this bandsaw on the Swag Off-Road bandsaw table. What's really cool about these is not only they're really capable, but you can get them into your garage with a lot of capability at a really great price point. If you're interested in something like this, check out our Amazon page, where you can find all the tools that I kind of use that I really like and I put in my garage again at a great price. And again, if you use that link, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it definitely gives us a little bit of money back, and we use that to pay for tires and shocks, so we sure do appreciate it.
All right, so I got this thing all welded up, ready to go, and this is where I'm going to put it right inside here. I've cleaned up, let me get on the other side over here, look at this side of the shot. What I'm gonna do is I clean up a little bit of metal there, and now I'm gonna bring this thing in, and I'm gonna tack weld it right there, and once I do that, I can go ahead and snap this reservoir in there. And what's kind of cool is this 2.5-inch exhaust tube almost fits perfectly over that reservoir. I don't know how, just got lucky. But it snaps in there, so it's gonna hold it really nice and tightly in there. I don't think there's any problem. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to cover up everything I don't want to get sparks on with some fiberglass blankets and get to doing a little bit of welding. We'll start tacking it, we'll fit it up first, and then we'll do a finish weld. Aha, perfect. Nice. Okay, so I am normally a Miller welding snob. I just got done welding the other side over here on Honja with those little perches. And this is the Harbor Freight weld. And all I gotta say is, you know, I'm pretty impressed. You know, Harbor Freight, I usually hate MIG welding, but I'm super happy with these welds. You know, I wasn't expecting this from a machine that was from Harbor Freight, but it's awesome. All right, let's take a look at what we're doing here. So we got to remove some fuel cans, and we got to move some fire extinguishers. We got to do that. So we're making a little rack, and it looks a little ghetto, but Danny's over here rocking it on the rack. I'll show you that once it's all done. Going on in here to Honcho. Let's take a look at those mounts that we just got done making on this video, and here we go. I think they look pretty awesome. I'm just using some pipe clamps. I was going to use more, but as it turns out, this 2.5-inch exhaust tube is the perfect diameter, once I sliced it in half, to cradle these reservoir, whatever you call them, the reservoirs that go off of the coilovers. They snap in there really nicely, and these things hold them in there. They're not going anywhere, so that's I think a pretty nice trick move. I would have kind of protected these a little bit more, but I just packed up all my heat shrink, so those are just what it is. So that's what we got there. But I think they're a pretty trick, and they went in there. And right now, let's go take a look at it over here. Denny, one of my co-drivers on the team here, he is over here pressurizing all of the bump stops, bypasses, and coilovers. And what we've got is this small nitrogen tank. And I'm going to put a link to these. If you go to our Amazon store, you'll find all this stuff here. We got the nitrogen tank. This is just from air gas. And then this valve system is for a nitrogen charging system. I don't know, it's for AC or something like that. I think it was like 35 bucks, and you ended up getting the hose, the regulator, which goes to PSI as opposed to like CFM if you were using like an argon thing. It's the same fittings that go in here, but just realize that the output's going to be PSI is what you want to pressurize these things. Again, that was about 30 bucks, and we put like a $10 chuck on there, and it works just like anything else. We're using this King pressure gauge here just to make sure that we dial it in perfectly. I think right now what we're running is, and you can put in the comments if you think we're wrong, but we're running 200 PSI on the bump stops, and then on the coilovers and the bypasses, 250 PSI, and I'm not smart, we're just going with the numbers that were used at Down South Motorsports. We'll start with that, and then if we need to dial them down or up, those are things that we can tune in here, but just some cool stuff that's going on with that. So besides that, we've got all of the shocks rebuilt. Again, Down South Motorsports just made them look brand new, replaced a ton of parts, and I thought reasonably priced too for all of the shocks all the way around the whole truck. But we'll see how they do. I think they're going to work a lot better. You know, the main big difference here is that we are using different coilovers, and like I said before, we have swapped these. So we're running bypasses towards the back of the truck and coilovers towards the front. Again, recommended by Sonny at Down South Motorsports. So thanks to those guys. Besides that, you can just see we've got everything else getting packed here, all the tools that are going to go in the truck, all the fuel, fire gear, and that kind of stuff. And then besides everything else in here, if you've been watching this channel for a while and you've been seeing this kind of go on, I think tonight will be my last night I sleep in this house, and then we're off to the California, this is crazy, off to the California 300. Truck should be ready after that for the Baja 1000. I hope you guys will continue following us on that and the journey to Colorado and whatever our new shop looks like. All right, well, we are wrapping up here. We're on the road here in a couple minutes out to the California 300 Baja 1000 in a month. And this is, I woke up this morning in the last time in this shop. So a little bit bittersweet. And I want to just thank all those folks out there who had some really kind words on the last video. It is kind of crazy sometimes where your community comes from, you know, and especially in 2022, sometimes the people that you relate with in your community are on YouTube. So anyway, just want to thank you all for that, and we will see you on the next episode. I think we're going to try to record something at the California 300, we'll definitely have some first-person, video from the entire race if we can get that. We'll post it as soon as we can get it. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Take care of yourself.